is Joy News Prime.
And coming up on Joy News Prime, government states in clearest terms yet it will not bail out Men's Gold in a bid to bring relief to the thousands of frustrated customers whose funds have been locked up.
The law does not allow the Bank of Ghana to do that, and I think the customers have taken the appropriate legal route by reporting to the security agency.
We'll also hear from the spokesperson of the company who says the Men's Gold CEO is outside the country to get money to pay frustrated clients.
Somebody outside the shores of Ghana, and it is working to make sure that he gets money to come and pay our customers.
Also, a former Inspector General of Police heads 5-member fact-finding committee to identify remote issues that have resulted in the Tiripone conflict.
They also want us to look into the matter, to investigate the matter, so that the truth will be revealed and recommendations made.
Ahead in business, new owners of ECG Miracles set to formally take over the company from next month.
Has committed to taking over on the 1st of February, and therefore there is a condition subsequent, or a waiver or a deferral, which the Americans can agree to do for us.
Also in this bulletin, 38-year-old woman loses life after she was hit by a stray bullet. 2 others, the husbands of the deceased and a 15-year-old girl, are also battling for their lives.
A bullet hit a woman aged about 38 years, now deceased, as well as her husband, and a schoolgirl, 15 years old, who was standing at the roadside looking for a vehicle.
My name is Arba Kumsen, and Joy News Prime comes to you live from the Joy News studio at Kokomimle here in Accra with digital address GA0992539. Stay tuned.
Joy News Prime headlines was brought to you by Auntie Mary Baby Gripe Water.
Thanks for staying with us. Now, government will not bail out Men's Gold in a bid to bring relief to the thousands of frustrated customers whose funds have been locked up following the shutdown of operations of the gold dealership firm. That's the categorical statement coming from Information Minister today. It comes at the back of several appeals by the customers for the president to intervene in their plight. Already, the Bank of Ghana is insistent it will not intervene in the customer situation, saying they ignored warnings issued them last year. As you know, an Accra Circuit Court has issued a warrant for the arrest of Men's Gold CEO Nana Appiah Mensah. In a statement released earlier Thursday, Information Minister Kojo Nkrumah also assured the state security agencies will employ all the powers required to find persons found culpable in the Men's Gold saga, including Nana Appiah Mensah, also called NAM1. We will hear from the Information Minister shortly, but now my colleague Gifty Ando-Appiah joins me in the studio with a copy of that statement by the Information Ministry. Gifty, it's quite a lengthy statement, but run us through some of the issues raised in it.
Very well. So, Araba, I have here in my hands a 4-page statement that is titled Government Position on the Men's Gold Saga. And what it does is ostensibly is to further explain the concerns or the responses that we've had from the Bank of Ghana. So this is what I'm going to do. It basically sets the record straight. That's what this document seeks to do. It basically sets the record straight as far as the regulation and the regulation of the activities of Men's Gold is concerned. It goes on to speak about the warnings it issued and the responses that came from the customers based on the warnings that it received from government. And then it goes on to make the point that you made in the intro. So I'm going to start the 6 pointers. I'm going to start with the very final 2, which speaks to what you just indicated. So let me read verbatim. It says that's point 5. Now, while government sympathizes with customers on the difficulties encountered in their transaction with the company, it says the state cannot and will not resort to the use of taxpayers' money to refund customers' money. So that's the fifth point. The sixth point, it says that government wishes to inform the general public that the security agencies, having received reports from customers that they believe they have been defrauded by false pretenses, shall employ all the powers of the state to find the accused persons, investigate the allegations, and ensure that the law takes its course on the matter. I must say, interestingly, though, about that, the fifth point, yesterday we had some of the customers speak to us and they said that, look, we're not looking for your sympathy. Even though government is saying that we sympathize with them, some of the people say we're not looking for your sympathy, but government has made it clear now that taxpayers' money will not be used to pay anybody.
Of course, the statement also makes reference to the Bank of Ghana's actions in all of this.
Exactly. So let me go to that now, and that will be found in the first 4 points, I think. Now, let me begin here. It says that it must be put on record that the regulators of our nation's financial services, namely the Bank of Ghana and the Securities and Exchanges Commission, had on numerous occasions over the years warned customers of men's gold. And I'm going to flip quickly to go forward to the next paragraph. So it says that the aftermath of this have seen the company reneging on its contractual obligations to its customers, resulting in demonstrations by the customers. And it says this on the back that all of these warnings that were issued by the agencies, the regulatory agencies, were not heeded to by the customers. It says that indeed some of the customers have called on government to refund, and this is these are premises, to get to the conclusion that we will not pay. It says that indeed some of the customers are calling on us as government to, in fact, look for their money, look for their gold, refund the gold, or pay them the money commensurate. But it says that government will not do that. Let me go to the second point, Araba. It says that actually the first point said that men's gold was not licensed by Bank of Ghana and the Securities and Exchange Commission. Unlike DKM, for example, which is a financial institution, DKM was registered. And so its activities were regulated by these regulatory institutions. Unlike DKM and the banks which government rescued, Men's Gold was not a registered financial institution. And in that case, it says that in the case of Men's Gold, it's operated as a trading company and falls outside the scope of the regulator's intervention. On that case, on that score, it says that government does not have the legal obligation to pay back the monies to the customers.
All right. Thank you so much, Gifty Ando-Appiah, with details of that statement.
But I need to put this in quickly because there was a part where they indicated that the president had no endorsement, that the president has not endorsed the activities or the so-called success story of Nana Appiah, and the government thought that it's important for them to chip that in quickly. So that point is there. It says that the picture which is circulating on social media where you see Nana Appiah at the Flagstaff House was an occasion where the then president of GFA, Kwesi Nyantakyi, had gone to the Flagstaff, the Jubilee House with the CAF president because he was going to be honored in Ghana. And that was the only occasion where he had joined the team because Xylophone was sponsoring the league at the time.
Very well. Thank you, sir. And we will come to that issue. But speaking of the regulators, the Information Minister Kojo Oppong-Nkrumah has backed the central bank's decision not to offer any form of intervention to customers of Men's Gold. He says the company was not licensed by the Bank of Ghana, as we indicated earlier, so the law would not permit the bank to repay the aggrieved customers. He spoke earlier on News Desk.
I think the point needs to be made over and over again that when, as far back as 2014, the regulatory agencies, namely the Bank of Ghana and the Securities and Exchange Commission, noticed that the practices of this organization were similar to deposits or asset-taking institutions, they did two things. They issued an alert that they suspect that they are taking deposits or assets, and that persons should not take deposits or assets there. At that time, the customers of these organizations said no, they were not taking deposits and assets there, and that they were giving this organization money. This was a trading organization that they were giving money to purchase a commodity, hold that commodity, sell that commodity, and then repay the amount that they had deposited or made available to them, plus a share of the profit to them. The Bank of Ghana at that time, therefore, did not have the legal power to do anything because customers and the company had both explained trading and not deposit taking. I am very sure that if any one of them had, honestly told the Bank of Ghana that indeed this company was taking their deposits, the Bank of Ghana would be seized with the material fact to intervene. Bank of Ghana gave those alerts, commenced their own investigation, but as you heard the Deputy Governor say on your own platform, there was no transparency. They could not see into it. And the people in the contractors, in the customers in the company kept giving the answers to the Bank of Ghana that it was a trading transaction. Today, the people involved in the contract are now saying that, yes, they gave monies to this company to buy gold, but they are neither getting their gold nor their money. And therefore, they've made reports that they have been defrauded by false pretenses.
Okay.
And it becomes a matter that the security agencies therefore now have to take up and take through the investigative processes and get resolution to. I noticed that some persons are saying that the Bank of Ghana should repay their monies to them. And the Bank of Ghana has explained that to the extent that this is not an institution licensed by the Bank of Ghana, unlike, for example, in the case of DKM or even in the case of some of the banks that have had challenges, because they were registered under Act 930, the Bank of Ghana could repay their monies to them. Okay. In this instance, the law does not allow the Bank of Ghana to do that. And I think the customers have taken the appropriate legal route by reporting to the security agencies, who have therefore proceeded to trigger an alert to find the person and to commence an investigation on what has happened with these transactions that they contracted to do.
Now, as you know, there is a manhunt for the Chief Executive Officer of Men's Gold, Nana Appiah Mensah, after an Accra Circuit Court issued a warrant for his arrest on Wednesday. Interpol has been alerted in all 194 countries to arrest him for defrauding by false pretense and money laundering. Although Joy News checks on the Interpol's website does not find Nana Appiah Mensah's name in the wanted list, CID boss Mamiya Tiwa Adodanko says there is a 100% chance Nana Appiah Mensah will be arrested in the nearest future. Well, officials of Men's Gold are tight-lipped on the whereabouts of their boss. Niama Amatefio is Deputy Public Relations Officer for Men's Gold, and he tells my colleague MFR Peu that NAM1 has not abandoned his clients. According to him, the Men's Gold CEO is outside the country to get money to pay frustrated customers.
Operated for 5 years. We paid Equatorial Valley consistently for 5 years. We have challenges this last year and this year. Doesn't mean that because we are having challenges, then we are a Ponzi scheme.
And it looks like the company facing challenges, then all of a sudden your CEO has abandoned you. Is that not the case?
What do you mean the CEO has abandoned us? Did you say that has abandoned us, or have you heard any management member say that our CEO has abandoned us?
So at least, so you've heard from him then?
No, you are saying that it's abandoned, and he has not.
He has not. So you've heard from your CEO in recent times, at least this year.
All CEOs of
he's traveled. He's traveled to where?
He has traveled.
Where is he traveled to?
He has what?
Where is he traveled to?
He has traveled outside the shores of Ghana, and it is working to make sure that he gets money to come and pay our customers.
He's traveled outside the shores. I'm listening.
Is the money here? Can we get the money here?
You should tell me. Your customers want to know. He hasn't abandoned you. We've heard from some celebrities, those that he signed, for instance. Even the security operatives in this country are looking for him. And we haven't heard any word from him, and you say he hasn't abandoned the company. No, he's just traveled to work. So when will he be back? When will he be back?
But the bench warrant has been issued, isn't it? Right?
A bench warrant is a warrant. Yeah, is a warrant that has been issued.
The warrant that has been issued.
Because they couldn't find him. That's why they've issued the warrant.
The reason why they issued the warrant was because, according to the police, they need him to answer certain questions. So the police will do its work. So let's allow the police to work.
Well, we now know Men's Gold has been left with no option but to return to the negotiation table with the Securities and Exchange Commission. That is, if they have any intentions of resuming operations. This follows an Accra High Court's dismissal of a case seeking to block SEC and the Bank of Ghana from regulating its activities. The company in September 2018 initiated the legal action against the two regulatory bodies, demanding that they are slapped with damages for hurting the business. The court today turned down the request. There's more in the following report.
The gold dealership in its suit filed against the Bank of Ghana and the Securities and Exchange Commission raised a number of issues. Key amongst them was to ask the court to rule that the two institutions did not have the power to regulate its business because of the nature of the business they were running. They didn't think that those institutions had the power to direct them to halt operations because they did not have a license for the gold trading activity they were engaged in. You'll recall that the Securities and Exchange Commission in September 2018 wrote to the company asking that it halt its gold trading operations because it's bordered on an unlicensed activity, and for which reason they cannot continue with it. The company had publicly blamed the institution for its failure to pay dividends to its members. They then proceeded to the court, asking, among other things, that the court also slapped the two institutions with damages for what they described as their business being hurt by the directive released by the two institutions, especially the Securities and Exchange Commission. But the lawyers for the Securities and Exchange Commission made an application saying that it was important for the gold dealership to exhaust internal dispute resolution mechanisms. So first, if they disagree with any regulatory agency in terms of its work, it was appropriate for them to engage them, and that engagement was actually ongoing just at the point which the company decided to sue the Securities and Exchange Commission. Now, Justice Amoah in her ruling agreed with SEC that indeed it was important for that engagement to have been exhausted before the case was filed at the court. So the case was dismissed. So what it means is that as it stands, there's no pending case between the Securities and Exchange Commission, Bank of Ghana, and gold dealership Men's Gold. So the court has dismissed the case filed by Men's Gold against the Securities and Exchange Commission and the Bank of Ghana.
Right, so how did we get here? Here's a news desk report chronicling the story so far on the Men's Gold saga.
They hit the streets many times, demanding their locked-up investments.
I want the government to intervene and force Nana Appiah Mensah to pay us back our hard-earned principal.
I can't even sleep. I can't sleep. My case is becoming a police case. A police case because orphanage money is involved. They should give us our money.
This was in sharp contrast with the position they had just 5 months back when the regulatory agencies issued warnings that the mysterious gold trading could not continue. But this has all got a history. It all started in October 2014 when investigations by the central bank uncovered a financial institution operating under the guise of microfinance at Kasoa in the central region. Men's Bank was its name, and it claimed it traded in gold. The name would later change to Men's Bank Ghana Company Limited, this time ending with a C instead of a K, and then later got the name Men's Gold. The suspicion around the operation of the company started when it claimed on its website that it was an affiliate of Switzerland-based firm Swiss Gold Global. Joy News checks by Manasseh Azuriawene, however, revealed this was false. In July 2018, the CEO of Men's Gold, Nana Appiah Mensah, revealed the firm had opened an office in London. But again, our checks revealed a different kind of operation was going on there. Within about 5 years of its operation, the company clashed with the Precious Minerals Marketing Company after it announced its license had expired. The Bank of Ghana waded into the controversy, warning investors to desist from handing deposits to the company. The Securities and Exchange Commission then went in to halt its operations. But Men's Gold would fight back, going to court.
Now, what is not above the law? If he's doing something that is not good, then to arrest him and bring him. Number one is not above the law.
As the demand for his arrest gained traction, news was rife that he has simply absconded beyond the shores of Ghana. In the last 24 hours, the police has announced it's tried without success to locate and arrest Nam 1.
We are aware that Nana Appiah Mensah is not in Ghana. So we have started the process of letting Interpol put him in the red notice.
And now, an arrest warrant has been issued. The aggrieved customers are excited, but equally cautious.
I was very, very elated, except that in Ghana, sometimes the leader, they start something and just for you to feel that they're about to do it, but they end up slipping. So all we're asking for is for them to start it from this moment and then conclude it.
Lawyer Amanda Clinton, who represents some of these customers, had another concern.
You know, my fear that there was a very sophisticated money laundering operation underway.
Which now the CID is confirming.
Confirmed, because we had reports from our insiders that they were asking traders within Ghana that they would buy their goods abroad and basically pick up the money in Accra. So they'll pick up the cash in Accra and then pay for it through an international account.
And the worst case scenario?
And the worst case scenario is that we won't have enough assets to actually share amongst everyone.
The search for the man already christened Ghana's most wanted continues unabated. And attention is equally on his wife, Rose Tete, and sister Benedicta Appiah, who were believed to be directors of Men's Gold. But how soon will the relevant agencies lay hands on them and locate the millions of cedis in his gold? Well, bank vault.
Well, let's jog your memory further and let's take you through the timeline of events step by step. So, in October 2014, Central Bank investigations uncover a financial institution operating under the guise of microfinance at Kasoa under the name Men's Bank. It claimed it traded in gold. The name changed to Men's Bank Ghana Company Limited, ending with a C instead of a K, and finally Men's Gold. In 2017, the Bank of Ghana warned investors to desist from making deposits to Men's Gold. In 2018, Men's Gold clashes with the Precious Minerals Marketing Company after announcing its license had expired 5 years into its operations. In 2018, the Securities and Exchange Commission stopped Men's Gold from dealing in gold collectibles. The company went to court that the Securities and Exchange Commission had no business to interfere in its operations. In August 2018, Men's Gold was unable to pay back dividends owed customers. Customers and other stakeholders demanded his arrest. In early January 2019, news was rife that Nana Appiah Mensah had absconded the shores of Ghana. On January 8, 2019, aggrieved customers in Kumasi staged a demonstration as the police arrested 7 for 2 offences. They were granted bail the same day. On January 9, 2019, CID announced efforts to arrest Nam 1 yields little results or success. Police secures court order for his arrest. Red alert is triggered in 194 Interpol countries to assist with the location and arrest of Nana Appiah Mensah, his wife Rose Tete, and sister Benedicta Appiah, who are believed to be directors of Men's Gold. And on January 10, 2019, that's today, the court threw out the Men's Gold's case against the Securities and Exchange Commission. You're still watching Joy News Prime with me, Arba Kumsin. We're taking a breather, but still to come, a former Inspector General of Police heads 5-member fact-finding committee to identify remote issues that may have resulted in the Chiripone conflict.
And they also want us to look into the matter to investigate the matter so that the truth will be revealed and recommendations made.
And business is up next, and in business, new owners of ECG Meralco set to formally take over the company from next month.
It's committed to taking over on the 1st of February, and therefore there is a condition subsequent, or a waiver or a deferral, which the Americans can agree to do for us.
Sandra Afenio has details right after the break.
There Adum WNG capsules ne mixture. Na sa wonu mo a ekum mo we de white ana we de poaba no. Esanso CC member.
Ene like wo jeme. Oba akọ alo oba nu. That's all.
We dey fancy ho. Sa wonu mo a white ana o de pua. Shim na free ho. Etimi so CC member.
Adum WNG capsules and mixture.
WNG capsules and mixture.
Called Dependable Herbal Home, Madina New Road Greenhouse.
Ana Kaswa opposite Tatus International School, Kaswa Podjasi Road.
Dependable Pharmacy.
Are
you going to school?
No, I'm drinking Calipo.
Calipo!
I bet you know that. Are you watching TV? No, I'm drinking Calipo.
Calipo!
Abi, you know Dada.
Are you washing clothes?
No, I'm drinking Calipo.
Calipo!
Abi, you know Dada.
Are you doing arms?
No, I'm drinking Calipo.
Abi, you know Dada.
Do your heads for braids or weaving that pulls? Is your hair breaking? Use the new HC Straightening Relaxer. Thanks to its unique anti-breakage formula, HC's nourishing active ingredients smoothens the hair for gentle straightening. Best at protecting all hair types, even the most stubborn hair gently softens for your every desire. With HC, you can take on all hairstyles. Discover the normal HC and Super HC ranges. Dream.
What's up, guys? Hey! Hey, girls! Hey! How you doing?
I'm just chilling.
So cool, so good. And now try the new funky banana flavor from Vanilla.
What does it take to have a glowing skin? All this? Nope, just this.
Zoe Body Lotion hydrates and cleans the skin in one step. Zoe Body Lotion deeply moisturizes the body and makes it more comfortable. I see one powerful body lotion and the skin is glowing.
All it takes is one. Zoe.
Zoe, celebrate your skin.
Enjoy great tasting meals with Frytol, the cholesterol-free cooking oil, fortified with vitamin A and endorsed by the Ghana Medical Association. Frytol, love your food, love your life. This advert has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
Move
Move on up, 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 up.
Look, Aisha, Chief Financial Controller of Operations. The whole market circle. Everybody know Aisha. First, now Aisha no get crowd too.
Move on up, up.
Every day then she for go back. Today be water bill. Tomorrow cash deposit. Next week be picking school fees. Meanwhile, that is today she know the selling cell phone. But now, levels don't change. Aisha they pay bills, then transfer cash all for the EcoBank mobile laptop. You can buy for a shopper. Shabu shabu. You scan, then you move. Aisha be big woman.
Pay your bills and receive payments like a boss with the EcoBank mobile app.
Oh yeah, download the EcoBank app, make we go.
EcoBank, the Pan-African bank.
Hi everyone, good evening. My name is Sandra Esinamapenon. I'm here for business. New owners of ECG Meralco is to formally take over the company from next month. Under the Millennium Development Compact Agreement, Meralco is required to assume work from February this year. Chief Executive of the Millennium Development Authority, Martin Ishon Benjamin, tells Joy Business there's no room for delays in the takeover.
It's in line with the timetable that we drew. That anytime we go to Parliament and Parliament approves the agreements, we have 6 months, 180 days, in which we consummate the agreement. That to say, in which we should transfer. So if you count the days, 1st February is the deadline. So we need it to, and we have to stick to it, because in the last budget that was read, the minister stood in Parliament and said that ECG will be transferred on the 1st of February, because that's the information that had been passed on to him, and we want to stand by it.
Have the necessary audits and all the rest been completed? Because I know for the new party, they would also want certain box to be ticked as well, to know that all these things have been done. From what you've seen, have all those things been done, that this schedule would indeed come on?
The process has been engaged. Obviously, as I said earlier on, there are two opportunities. Handover, and in the process, there are issues that are low-hanging, which can be taken on board as the new company comes in. If there's any disagreement, as they come in and look into the books, they'll be seeing a lot more things. But they are committed to taking over on the 1st of February. And therefore, there is a condition subsequent, or a waiver, or a deferral, which the Americans can agree to do for us. They can decide that where we've reached, we are waiving this particular activity, which we thought you need to meet. It's all left in the hands of the parties to make sure that they put themselves in a position which makes everybody comfortable.
Well, meanwhile, the Millennium Development Authority has reiterated no staff will be laid off when the new owners take over. Let's do some other stories now. The Ghana Statistical Service has started a mapping exercise throughout the country as part of preparation towards the 2020 population and housing census. Acting government statistician David Combat tells Joy Business the Ghana Statistical Service will be employing modern technology to ensure a successful compilation of data during the exercise.
The mapping exercise seeks to update the 2010 census enumeration areas. The enumeration area is the smallest spatial unit for one enumerator to work in during the census period and constitutes one of the most essential aids required to achieve a complete enumeration during the census.
We are preparing, and we have government has...
Acting statistician David Combat said about 80 cartographic staff would be deployed to start updating these enumeration areas in the Upper East, Upper West, Northern regions and subsequently roll over to other parts of the country.
We hope to finish the full work by September 2019, and then we would now be working with the office work. Then we have also developed the questionnaire that we intend to use to collect the information. It's in the draft stage. We are consulting with stakeholders to find out whether there are some questions to add on, or some modifications to some of the questions we have already asked. so that we can have it pre-tested and then we pilot it.
He added the 2020 census will cover data on the unemployed rate in the country as well.
That there are definitional challenges. For us, when we say somebody is unemployed, it is different from what the layman says he is unemployed. Somebody has finished the university with a degree in economics. He wants to work in a bank or where he works with him. But what is immediately available is a class to teach.
The last census in 2010 involved 37,000 enumeration areas, which the Statistical Service says has become necessary due to the migration and relocation of residents.
The central bank says it has no hand in the 2 billion Ghana bailout for 5 local banks. This follows an earlier call on government by the Union of Graduate Teachers to halt the use of pension funds to support struggling local banks. Time now to check a compilation of stories in the local business scene.
Aker Energy has discovered oil in commercial quantity in Ghana, estimated around 450 to 550 million barrels, the company has announced. The well was drilled at the Pecan field approximately 166 kilometers southwest of Takoradi in Ghana to a vertical depth of 4,870 meters in 2,667 meters of water. The central bank has denied playing any direct role in the selection of 5 banks for recapitalization under the Ghana Amalgamated Trust, GATT. GATT is an arrangement of private pension funds to inject 2 billion Ghana cedis into supporting solvent and well-run indigenous banks, which were otherwise having difficulties meeting the new minimum capital requirement of 400 million Ghana cedis. The Association of Ghana Industries, AGI, has asked government to ensure an early release of the $1 billion it's pledged in the 2019 budget towards industrial development. An early release of the funds, it said, will accelerate the country industrial development, improve confidence in the economy, ensure that the desired impact is generated, as well as lend credence to government's industrial transformation agenda.
So those were summaries from some local stories making headlines elsewhere across the country too. Other stories, some waste management companies say they have uncovered alleged violation of national procurement regulations in the award of sanitation contracts to Zoomlion. They want investigations into what they describe as imposition of Zoomlion contracts on newly created assemblies. A group calling itself Alliance for Environmental Sanitation wants government to stop paying Zoomlion from the District Assembly Common Fund. Convener of the Alliance, Mark Kakraba Ampa, addressed a media in Kumasi.
To, as a matter of urgency, stop further payments from the District Assembly Common Fund to Zoomlion and cause investigations into circumstances leading to imposition of contracts on the newly created municipal assemblies in gross violation of national procurement regulations. The third purpose is to call on the President of the Republic, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, who desires to make Accra the cleanest city in Africa, to aggressively eliminate the monopoly of Zoomlion and create a level playing field for healthy competition to give Ghanaians value for money in environmental sanitation management. Zoomlion has been imposing contracts that it generates by itself. The recent issues with the new municipalities that have been created, after delivering the vehicles, Zoomlion followed up with contracts, which we will share with you. This one is in respect of Kwadasu Municipal Assembly. And the reason why we are saying that Zoomlion is looting public funds is this. All other waste management companies in the metropolitan areas in this country are doing full cost recovery of waste. And so therefore, if Zoomlion is in that industry, in these areas, they are also supposed to be doing same. Now, the contract that Zoomlion distributed to these assemblies and is urging them, in fact, they have prepared the contract, signed their parts, and brought them to the assemblies to also sign. Section 4 of the agreement assumes that the assemblies agreed with Zoomlion to deliver the trucks when the delivery indeed was on Zoomlion's own volition. under Section 5, which defines the obligations of Zoom Lion. There is no definition of the volume of services to be provided by Zoom Lion. There's no definition of operational area. Zoom Lion is supposed to procure the services of personnel who will be manning this equipment and pay them and pay for fuel and carry out repairs and maintenance.
All right, so that's how we wrap up tonight on Business with me, Sandra Esinam. And for more business news, do log on to our website, myjoyonline.com/business. It's grateful having you as always on Business with me, Sandra Esinam. Thanks so much for watching.
Polytang, our family of products are here for you. Polytang. Enjoy great tasting meals with Frytol, the cholesterol-free cooking oil, fortified with vitamin A and endorsed by the Ghana Medical Association. Frytol, love your food, love your life. This advert has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
You're welcome back. Now, a 5-member committee headed by former Inspector General of Police Patrick Achampong has been commissioned on a fact-finding mission to identify the remote issues that have resulted in the ongoing conflict in Chiriponi in the northern region. The committee has up to 12th of February 2019 to submit its report to the Interior Minister Ambrose Derry. Inaugurating the committee, Mr. Derry tasked the committee to also delve into the matter and recommend solutions on how to address the conflict.
The youth organizations have also come into support, and all want peace. But they also want us to look into the matter, to investigate the matter, so that the truth will be revealed and recommendations made to enable us to have a sustainable peace moving forward. I want to acknowledge the commitment that is displayed here. I know you on both sides, and I know that the approach that we are taking now, the blessing of Mr. President, is to make sure that we put in place the committee, a fact-finding committee, to go into the matter, to enable us not just make the peace that you are all committed to, but also to ensure that the peace is sustainable. Raised about the activities of security agencies and organizations, and I assure that under the auspices of the RESEC and the DISEC, working up to the National Security Council, that these will be resolved. Yes, the damage and destruction, NAMPO has been directed to go immediately to the place to assess the damage. Government will do what they can to help in ameliorating the situation.
Chairman of the Northern Regional Peace Council, Reverend Philip Nama, said there was the need for dialogue to be used as a tool in resolving conflict.
Urge the foraging parties to adhere to principles of non-violence and use dialogue rather than the power of the gun to address their grievances. Although it is worthy to know that leaders of Kokombas and Anufos have already pledged to end the fight for the common good, we urge them to avoid the temptation of relapsing into overt violence. We also urge them to open up and use dialogue and mediation processes to sustainably cement their relationship. I would like to use this occasion to remind Ghanaians that the Criminal Code of Ghana has enough provisions to deal with interpersonal relationship problems, such as murder and destruction of properties. Individuals who feel offended should seek redress at the law courts rather than taking the law into their own hands.
Now, the Ghana Police Service is defending the killing of a 25-year-old banker at Teshi in Accra. Divine Akuno was on a motorbike when he was shot by the police on suspicion he was an armed robber. The police claim he snatched the handbag of a woman and attempted to flee. His brother, Gamele Akuno, however, disputes the police claim, saying his deceased brother was a decent man. The family is demanding justice for the 25-year-old. Ifwa Evans-Chenery reports.
Divine Aquino, as described by his family, was well-mannered and full of life.
He's the most humble person I've seen. Divine is not someone who will indulge in anything like that at all. If you know Divine, you know very well. Everyone is taken aback by this sudden occurrence. No one has ever come here to say this. We go trace Divine back to his school in Sugar School. Nothing. Accra Polytechnic, nothing of the sort. Nothing of the sort. If there was a trend, then we could say, oh, okay. But there's no trend. There's nothing like that. So how? That is what begs the question. How?
His father, Albert Aquino, says he will not rest until justice is served.
If you found him with even something, he told you his dad is near, his house is just here. He has his car in the yard. So let us go. So you see my parents. Just about 5 houses away. And you still went ahead and do that damage. Can they bear that pain? We need justice.
This eyewitness narrates what happened.
I was coming back from nightclub that time with my brother. So when we met a lady,
Together you were with him?
With my brother. Yeah, with a lady, but I have to wait for them under the tree. Then they will go inside. So I know our neighborhood, so I decided to sit down. So after searching me, and they saw a motorbike coming around the corner, and they have to drive straight to that place. This corner, and after driving straight carefully, then started shooting. So I wanted to go and see who they shot, but they told me I should go back home.
But the police insist the young man was an armed robber. DSP Efia Tenge is the Greater Accra Regional Police Public Relations Officer.
The police states that the deceased was not shot in a mistaken identity, as claimed or alleged by the family, but died through police gunshot wounds. The second suspect who escaped was later also arrested and will be prosecuted in due time. A search conducted on the deceased together with the one who has been arrested led to the retrieval of the lady's phone. And this lady's phone was in the pocket of the deceased together with a kitchen knife. Other items also included 5 mobile phones. And even these mobile phones, the police suspect they were also stolen or taken in similar circumstance.
Meanwhile, the man who was shot together with Divine is currently receiving treatment at the police hospital. Divine Aquino was a credit officer with Easy Microfinance Company here in Accra until his death. Ifwa Evans Chinri for Joy News.
You're still watching Joy News Prime, and there's more talk on Men's Gold, auxiliary firm Xylophone Media and its signees after the break with Miss G.
Nada na wenim nyina hu nyina ye fin sei.
Because asase so se me kohwe adwuma na boys na ye no. Na nkrofo bi betu share so omo aboye nse fun fram. Hwe me hu nyina.
Me too for ye ti. Da me catch you say yenko Second King Real Estate for one yenko po masase ni binto. Bronye omo ye promotion omo asase omo wo e wo chopoli omo atete so enka no asase 70 by 100 no mo ton 10,000 Ghana cedis omo atete so about 5,000 Ghana cedis afi so wo to omo san so ye hu krata nyina ma wo a omo nji uska bia omo san so ton adanse hu nyoma bebre se wo ni scamp a omo tumi statistic dynamo na wo tua na kakaka kopin timer wo be tua wie. Second King Real Estate in Sasi enyinem kane akwan papa eni nsuo e wo ho se wo pe o machi akwan a wo benya won wo adenta Agua filling station neti ho ana se wo betumi afre number. Second King Real Estate, the home for kings.
And like I promised, there's more talk on NAM1 and Men's Gold. Miss G has the latest, or some more, let me just say, some more on this.
The latest is found
fluid story.
That would be the latest, but
exactly.
so long as we haven't found NAM1,
exactly,
it's just an addition. But what we noticed today after, yesterday after the warrant was talked about, today we realized that one office of the sister company of Men's Gold, which is Xylophone Media, had their branding being pulled off. Yeah, somebody posted on social media, and people say that that's on the Westlands stretch here in Accra, and that's the picture of them pulling off the branding of Xylophone Media on that building.
All the time.
Yeah, on the Westland stretch. Wow. And what happened was also that I tried to reach the communications director for Xylophone Media.
Right.
That's a Samiba Atobi. Most people call him Sabi Flex.
Okay.
And he says that he would not
comment.
He is in no position to comment about this and any other issue affecting their sister company.
Luckily, we spoke to an official of Men's Gold, the Deputy Public Relations Officer, and he says that his boss is outside the country. He wouldn't say exactly where he is. He just says that he is, looking for money
to pay the customers.
Exactly.
And somebody asked, while we're listening to that, what is he doing there looking for money? As in, what kind of job is he doing out there? Well, let's hope and pray that, the monies are refunded to these folks. So, still on Xylophone Media and Xylophone Music. You know that they have Xylophone Music, and that has Stoneboy, Shatawale, Kumigita, who was actually the first signee, Becca, and Obibini, and Joyce Blessing. These are the signees for Xylophone Music. Then they have the Xylophone actors who are Bibi Bright, my own good friend, who is pregnant. I'm not sure. If I hear that Bibi Bright has delivered, it will be very true. So she's heavily pregnant. So Bibi Bright, we have Benedicta Gaffa, who is also currently out of the country. Yes, that's Bibi Bright. This is James Gardner.
Okay.
And we have, that's Joyce Blessing, who belongs to the music. Kumi Guitar, who is also part of the music. That's the rapper Obibini. And Shatawale and Namwan in the shot. That is the sister of
Simabru.
Namwan, Simabru, who is a fashion designer, and Stoneboy also in the shot with Namwan. Too Sweet Annan, he's an actor, and also Zinel Zu Lydia is also an actress signed to the label, and that's Becca, who everyone is speaking about today because they say that she has deleted all photos of Namwan on her platform. I have been saying that it's not quite new because I remember that Becca unfollowed everyone except her husband, and it became a big deal because people thought that if we are following you, then you need to follow us back so that we know that it is follow for follow.
Yeah.
But she deleted every photograph of hers at a certain point on her Instagram account and was left with only the picture of her husband.
Oh, wow.
And now she has photos on. So it's not strange that she deletes, ours and when she wants to. But she's yet to speak. And every other signee, apart from Kumi Guitar, is yet to speak on the issue. And so here's what Kumi Guitar has actually been saying on Namwan and the Men's Gold saga.
Infienum na yetia obia mama kase onya ni sikanta ye na sem na bentira onya butrema yen wate I feel your pain, I know your story. It means ya baby, I'm a victim. The crime team is sikanta obio. I know your pain, I know your pain. Intiminka sabi, munya butrema yen wate, munya butrema yen. Munya dream bonibia, na mwa munya dream bonibia. Sama boni na bokudo no, bia be ye. Insani mikwa meto no kwa bieja.
Okay, so that's Kumi Guitar.
Says he knows their pain.
Yeah, who has constantly said that he has money also saved with a Men's Gold. And his schoolmates and classmates will be here to Nana Appiah Mensah. He's actually the first signee of Nana Appiah Mensah's xylophone music. Now, let's talk about Lydia Forson, who has actually been speaking on the issue. And she blames celebs and politicians for what is happening to xylophone and Men's Gold in particular. And here's what she posted on her social media platform, if you can see it, just a bit of it. And it's a blog, actually. She puts on her blog and she talks about how she thinks that these folks who went endorsing and became ambassadors, if you read it, she said those who became ambassadors for Men's Gold should have known how, fishy it was and how the deal looked too good to be true. And even though she would have loved to be an ambassador, there were things that were questionable about these deals, and these celebs should be asking questions. And she's cautioning them that the next time they decide to pick on these roles as ambassadors, they should be cautious and know the details of what they are signing in.
In fact, the question she asked is, did any of these people have suspicions about the company? I'm sure they did. So she's very categorical.
She said that. So that's it on Men's Gold, xylophone media and all that. That's all time will allow us.
Okay, I'm sure there'll be more in the following days. But thank you very much, Ms. G. That's a wrap for our viewers on Joy Prime, but there's more news ahead on Joy News. Stay tuned.
Joy News Prime Headlines is brought to you by Auntie Mary Baby Gripe Water.
Government states in clearest terms yet it will not bail out Men's Gold in a bid to bring relief to the thousands of frustrated customers whose funds have been locked up. We heard from the spokesperson of the company who says the The Men's Gold CEO is outside the country to get money to pay frustrated clients. Former Inspector General of Police heads 5-member fact-finding committee to identify remote issues that have resulted in the Tiripone conflict. In business, new owners of ECG Meralco set to formally take over the company from next month. Now, the influential Catholic Church has questioned the official results of the Democratic Republic of Congo's controversial presidential election. Opposition candidate Felix Tshisekedi was named the winner on Thursday. However, the church, which posted 40,000 election observers, says the result does not match its findings. The runner-up, opposition candidate Martin Fayukulu, has accused Mr. Tshisekedi of reaching a power-sharing deal with the governing party. Mr. Tshisekedi has denied cutting any deal. Now, a drone attack on a Yemeni government base by the rebel Houthi movement has reportedly killed 6 soldiers. The drone exploded above a podium at an Al-Anad base in the southern province of Lahi, where high-ranking officers and officials were watching a parade. Medics said Army Deputy Chief of Staff and large governor were among those hit. According to reports, the rebels had targeted personnel from the Saudi-led coalition backing the government. The attack threatened to derail UN peace efforts, which last month saw both sides agree to a ceasefire around the lifeline Red Sea port of Hudaydah. The U.S. will work with allies to expel every last Iranian boot from Syria. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo warned there would be no U.S. reconstruction aid for areas controlled by Syrian President Bashar al-Assad until Iran and its proxies had left. He also criticized ex-President Barack Obama's Middle East policy, saying he had made dire misjudgments. Mr. Pompeo was speaking in Cairo 3 weeks after President Donald Trump said U.S. troops were pulling out of Syria. The announcement had shocked U.S. allies and sparked strong criticism in Washington. That's it for international news.
Fortune City is a luxurious, ultra-modern, gated, secured community with over 140 acres of land to be developed in 5 phases. We are committed to providing homes that model international standards in an estate with swimming pool, tennis courts, among others. Our new development is made up of 3 and 4 bedroom detached houses with 24-hour security. Visit us at New Age at just 5 minutes drive behind the Western Mall, or call us on 050-431-0005 or 0544-31-0005. You can also log on to our website at fortunecity.com.gh. Fortune City, our house, your fortune.
I'm much more than a hairstylist.
I am much more than a cosmetologist.
I am much more than a spa therapist.
I am much more than a dermal technician.
At FC Beauty College, we offer more than just an education in the art of beauty therapy. With over 15 years of experience, we offer you the chance of being part of over 5,000 graduates who are inspiring change in the world of cosmetology. Duly registered with iTech, GES, and CODVETS, and with a high job placement rate for our graduates, we are truly more than just a college. See how you too can be much more more by visiting our website and Facebook account to follow their stories. FC Beauty College, be much more.
You're welcome back. Now, a 38-year-old woman has lost her life after she was hit by a stray bullet. The two others, her husband of the deceased and a 15-year-old girl, are also battling for their lives. According to the police, the taxi in which the couple were traveling in was caught in a crossfire between the police and suspected armed robbers in the early hours of Thursday at Isuechi, a suburb of Cape Coast. Richard Kujunyakon has more.
The 38-year-old woman died after she was hit by a stray bullet Thursday morning. Her 47-year-old husband and a 15-year-old girl were also hit by stray bullets and are currently on admission at the Cape Coast Teaching Hospital. The couple were in a taxi on their way to work while the 15-year-old girl was standing by the roadside looking for a taxi to go to school. According to the police team at Chifupraso had an information while on patrol duties that a saloon car with registration number GT 4523J was being used by suspected armed robbers in an operation. The police recount that the pursuit of the suspected robbers led to an exchange of fire between the police patrol team and the suspected robbers at the Isuechi, a suburb of Cape Coast. Central Regional Police Commander DCOP Paula Winnie recounts how the 38-year-old lost her life and two others that are on admission currently.
From Jukwa, where they rammed into the second barrier after the Chifupraso barrier, the armed robbers started firing at the police, and then the patrol team also returned the fire. Amidst the exchanges, there was a taxi cab with registration number CR 523-17, which was caught up between the police and the suspected robbery vehicle. In the process of the exchanges, a bullet hit a woman aged about 38 years, now deceased, as well as her husband, 47 years, and a schoolgirl, 15 years old, who was standing at the roadside looking for a vehicle to attend school.
Police say two of the suspected robbers were arrested while the third, who was holding a rifle, ran into the bush. One of the suspected robbers is also receiving treatment at the Cape Coast Teaching Hospital.
In the process, the robbers' vehicle ran into a ditch around the Ankafo Junction, and two of the suspects succeeded in escaping, including one who was wielding an AK-47 weapon. Police arrested two of the suspected robbers, namely Joseph Kwanzaa, 36 years, and Daniel Ewusi, 32 years, who is also on admission.
The Inspector General of Police has, however, directed that the CID headquarters in Accra take over the investigations. The question as to whether it was a stray bullet from the police that killed the woman or the alleged bullets of the gold thieves that resulted in the fatality and the injuries remain unanswered. The family of the couple are calling for justice to be served. Richard Kwejunyakon, Joy News, Cape Coast.
And as Richard indicated, that the IGP has ordered an investigation into this particular incident. A statement signed by Director General Public Affairs of the Ghana Police Service, Assistant Commissioner of Police David Eklu, says the IGP has directed the Criminal Investigations Department headquarters to take over the investigations of the shooting incident that led to the death of a woman and injuries to others at Ankafo Junction on 10 January 2019. A report received from the Central Regional Police Command indicates that there was a chase involving some suspected armed robbers that resulted into a shooting incident. The CID has been tasked to investigate and submit a report to the IGP in 3 weeks. The police administration assures the public, relatives of the deceased and victims that the necessary investigative procedures would be done to unravel the truth of the unfortunate incident. Let's stay on the issue of shooting, because some bereaved families of the Manson Quanta shooting victims are unhappy about the uniform disbursement of government's compensation package. President Akufo-Addo on Tuesday announced a 1.75 million Ghana cedi package, which gives each family 250,000 Ghana cedis. However, some of them say some families are more burdened than others, and therefore equal sharing of the money puts them at a disadvantage. We will hear shortly from some of the families, but first listen to President Akufo-Addo announcing the package in Kumasi on Tuesday.
I cannot come to Kumasi and not revisit the unfinished business of the death of 7 of our compatriots at the hands of some police personnel last year. As promised, we set up a committee to look into the matter. Based on the recommendations of the committee, I asked the Inspector General of Police to interdict the police personnel involved. Processes have been initiated that will result in the prosecution of any police person who is allegedly found to have acted outside the law. I'm happy, though, also to announce to you that a compensation package totaling 1,750,000 Ghana cedis, that is 250,000 Ghana cedis for each of the 7 families, is to be paid to the dependents of the deceased. Even though money cannot replace the life of a human being, it is being offered as a way of accepting the responsibility of the state in this tragic affair. In the circumstances, I appeal to you to continue to exercise restraint as this sad, unfortunate matter is addressed within the confines of the law and due process.
Well, Love FM's Kwesi Deborah has been speaking to some of the families of the deceased. Here is his report.
2-year-old Mami Fafi is fast asleep. She and her 3 other siblings are keeping their mother company. Humu Abubakar is widow of the late Baba Kande. I knew of the outcome, she says. My husband is never a robber. Though the mother of 5 is happy about the package announced by the president, she believes her husband could provide more than that if he were alive. Madame Humu says an educational endowment fund will be apt for the 5 children aged between 2 and 17 years. Fathi, for instance, is 2 years and yet to start school. If there can be an educational fund, it will be good for the children. Their father is everything. Bashiru Baba Arwaz is father of Abdul Hanan. He says the compensation is another step to clear his son's name of robbery. For him, exposing the police personnel behind the killing of Hanan and his colleagues remains unconditional demand. I'm the first person in my family to bury a son. What disturbs me most is armed robbery tag. We thank the government for the investigation. As for the compensation, though we thank government, I have enough to live on.
Police commander no say man army robbery.
Nazer Garden Boy is a bereaved relative executive of concerned Zongo youth. He says government should take a second look at the disbursement of the compensation money.
this is it. My brother, whose shop is where we are standing, Babankandi, is having 5 children. Frenchman, the one who works as the one who sells bread, is also having 5 children, and the wife is pregnant with the 6th child. The others, there is one guy from Bekwa who is having what, 2 children. The rest of the 4 are not having any child. So if you give a uniform compensation, it means that you are going to overburden some families. Because right now, the 5 children of Babankandi, their principal interest is what? Their education.
Reporting for Joy News, Kwesi Deborah.
Now to the story of a 26-year-old woman who was defiled by her own father at the age of 13. Although the incident greatly affected her, she did not allow the situation to quench her burning dreams. The young lady, who is now a teacher, was forced out of her parents' home to live in a shelter after she was defiled by her own father 13 years ago. She has been sharing her ordeal and how she survived on the Super Morning Show earlier Thursday.
It's my father. I was staying with my father when I was about 5 years old. So I grew with him. But I got to a time, started misbehaving, started abusing me sexually, physically, and mentally. I got fed up and I wanted to end my life or escape from him. But I didn't get the chance until a stepmother of mine was around. And one fateful night, my father was trying to sleep with me whilst my stepmother was there. There was a little misunderstanding, so he decided to join me on my mat to have sex with me. So I was struggling with him and thereabout, and my stepmother heard of it. And it turned into a whole lot of situation for me. The case was sent to the courts, and there was nowhere for me to live. All the family members rejected me. They said what I was saying was not true. My father can't do such a thing to me, so I should find my own way to survive. But God being so good, I got a neighbor who introduced me to the ACT Foundation. They sent me to their shelter.
So just to be clear on the facts of this story, your father at the time, he was put in jail.
Yeah, he was at a cell.
So, I mean, eventually, after the court process, he was found guilty and put in jail.
No, he managed to escape.
Well, Executive Director of the ACT Foundation, Angela Dramina Boaji, has been talking about how a shelter provided a safety net for the now 26-year-old lady.
The shelter actually started in my boys' quarters, to tell you the truth.
Okay.
So basically, before we got groups like ActionAid and some of the UN organizations and other international donors coming in, we were already trying to use the little we had to help. And then we found a place away from Accra. You know, it's a security kind of thing.
Okay.
It has to be manned 24 hours by security. We used to have police protection, actually, until the police said they couldn't do it because they had many other duties and they also needed some funding, which we couldn't provide. Yeah. So we had to find private security.
Now, a section of the National Rapid Deployment Force of the Ghana Police Service has cleared close to 100 Sudanese, I beg your pardon, has cleared close to 100 Sudanese refugees from the UNHCR premises here in Accra. The group has been protesting for nearly 40 days against the UNHCR for its refusal to issue their refugee document and poor conditions at refugee camps in the Western region. Joy News' Henry Kwesi Bedu has been at the offices of the UN High Commissioner for Refugees and now reports.
In the heat of the day, some Sudanese refugees had set up camp in front of a UNHCR building protesting. Mothers, children, and the old have been exposed to such harsh weather conditions for nearly a month and a half. On Thursday, police dispersed the refugees from the UNHCR premises. However, the refugees refused to leave until their demands were met. But some misunderstanding ensued as the police attempted to force the refugees onto the bus.
What are you
Commander-in-charge of a National Rapid Deployment Force, Superintendent Al-Mayal Karase Abbas, explained the Sudanese refugees were causing a nuisance and needed to be dispersed. According to him, the Ghana Refugee Board and the UNHCR petitioned the IGP to facilitate the process of dispersion.
The Ghana Refugee Board wrote to the Inspector General of Police regarding the unauthorized residence of some refugees from Sudan. And subsequently, they came here, they were here, that is on the 26th November. Since 26th November, they have been here, causing nuisance and posing security threat. As you can see, we have the American Peace Corps located very close to us here, and then this Kuwait Embassy, which is also another vital installation, a lot of residents around here. And these Sudanese refugees, numbering almost about 40 to 50, are here, some of them sleeping on the streets, making some demands including shelter, food, health, among others. They petition, and as you can see, the UNHCR representative spoke to them that they have assistance that they can offer, but they cannot meet all their challenges. However, there's a designated place for them at Christian camp, that's the refugee camp in the western region.
Meanwhile, philanthropist Madiya Awudu Agona has been helping the refugees during their camping at the UNHCR grounds.
I go and bring food for them. Some of them are taking them to the hospital. They are pregnant women. Many things. Even yesterday, they come to my house. I take them to the hospital. So I used to bring them food, soap, everything they will need. I used to bring them because I have some group in Europe. I talk to them, they send me money and helping me to help these people because of the children and the women are here.
The Sudanese refugees have agreed to relocate to the Christian village camp in the western region, although their demands were not met. Henry Kwesibedu's report for Joy News.
This is Joy News Prime. Up next is Baba Tando with sports.
Enti da ben nanim gwase eto betwa maka so se yenko amanak real estate fo nchenkwo pe wo nsase bi nto na fiewre yi gu yanimu ase dodo wo mo nsase asem biye ni ho e wo chopoli dodowa e na Fashion Hill kwan didemu enyina monkane wo ho ensuo wo ho bambo jina ne nan so wo mo san emma abo wo mo wo blocks iron rods ene niema hodo ye de sisi ade nyina se wo pese wo mo si dan ma wa wo mo si ma wani so ye kwa wanka ye wie ye ma ya so den womo okwanya womo be faso na asase ne watua kan kakra Amanak Real Estate for wo Ashaman Municipal Assembly ho womo ne Queen's Hotel ene bon hwani mu wo betimi afre